Joseph, this has been, as you know, a back and forth here. This all started in 2014. Sadly, we still know nothing about what happened to these children, where in fact they may be. At this point, the government believes that this woman killed her own kids. And yet you've got two very different stories as to her mental competency here. How do judges really work around this?
Well, today's proceeding, it is competency, which is different than whether or not the defendant can plead insanity at a trial. So this is just whether or not she is competent to stand trial, whether or not she knows what's going on, and whether or not she can competently assist her attorney. And actually, the bar for this is very, very low. Essentially, as long as someone who's facing charges can say, can answer the questions about what is a judge. Judge is like a referee. What is a prosecutor? The prosecutor is there to put me in jail. What's a defense attorney? The defense attorney's there to help me. If somebody can answer those three questions, regardless of anything else going on, they're generally determined to be held competent for trial, and then they could go to trial and stand charges.
She was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and there have been many competency hearings, or at least several throughout the years, to try and take this to trial. Clearly, the father of these children, his kids as well, he wants this to go to trial. He wants her to be, at least justice to be served to some degree. The government believes that she's competent here. How successful could this defense be?
Well, the government may win on this issue of her competency. So she was originally indicted, I believe, in 2017 for the murder. She was found to be incompetent at that time. She was taken and evaluated in a hospital for 5 years. And the law requires that if she's not found competent within the 5 years, the charges are dismissed. She was even held up to 8 years beyond that initial commitment, and then she was released into the community because she was able to prove to the doctors that she was sufficiently able to take care of herself and not a danger to society. And then the government said, well, if you're out on your own and you're okay to be on your own now, and you're not a danger and you can take care of yourself, then you're competent to stand charges. They refiled the charges, and now we're going through this process again. So it's a long history. It's a very unique case, and it's actually very interesting as a legal issue.
Yeah, briefly released into a halfway house, not fully, without being under the purview of the government, though. But you're right. And in 2022, the clock restarted. So here we are going into 26 and potentially going to get again up to that deadline here. Usually at some point, is there a problem or a point where, almost like you have to try somebody where you can't keep looking for competency? You just have to say they cannot stand trial?
Theoretically, based on the law here, because the dismissal, if somebody isn't found competent within 5 years, is silent on whether or not it should be dismissed with prejudice or without prejudice, meaning the prosecution can bring in again. Because the law is silent, I think the prosecution has a better argument that it doesn't say it's with prejudice, so we're bringing it again, as they've done here. So if she's found to be incompetent, we could restart this loop all over again. And to answer your question, there's nothing in the law that would stop this cycle from repeating endlessly, other than the government saying that this is a waste of taxpayer resources. We're going to be in this loop over and over and over, this infinite loop. It's going to cost the taxpayers money, and we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to achieve justice. We're not going to be able to get the conviction that we want. So we're going to not pursue it.
All right, we'll see what happens and how the judge rules at the end of this. Thanks for the breakdown there, Joseph. We appreciate it. Let's move on now as leaders and experts in the community will chat tonight about how high